happening, everybody? How are you? Good evening. And thank you for joining. You all didn't know I had them moves. I showed that little young girl in my intro. Got together with her to show her I wanted her to hook up that dance thing. What's happening? Welcome, 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 everyone, back to another awesome episode of Sisters Against Kidney Disease. I am your host, Audrey Langston, and I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for joining me again. I hope that everyone is doing well since the last time we got together. Thank you so much for my regular viewers, and thank you for all my viewers that may be coming on for the first time. I am hoping that you get this show is very impactful to touch your hearts and lives the way it has touched mine. You know, the main reason we do these shows, that I do this show as well as my sisters and brothers with the other shows, is to get this word out. We are advocating for health and wellness. We transplantation, as we know, kidney disease, diabetes, these are the things that reign supreme within our African American community. And so God wants us to get this word out here. He's wired us to be the billboard with our testimonies to help others. So please, I implore you to share this page, okay, with your family and friends on Facebook. I am also live on YouTube. Share the page. We're going to have some information at the bottom telling you about my speaker and how you can advocate for her being in need of a kidney. Please post this, hit likes, ask questions. You all are not amateurs with this. You know how to do it on Facebook. You know what we do. So I am just really, really thanking you again for being here. And I'm really excited about my guest tonight. As the advertisement said, she is definitely a SHERO in my book. And we know that's the female version of hero. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Missys Bias, and she is the mother of 2 children. She's the proud owner of Missys Bling And Accessories. So you guys can also check her out on Facebook. She sells some beautiful jewelry. Melissa was diagnosed with kidney failure in 1997, and she received her first transplant in 1999, which lasted until 2003 when she had a brain aneurysm and she had to return to dialysis. So obviously that messed up, that caused some problems with her kidney. She had to go back on dialysis. She received her second transplant in 2013 at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, Maryland. And unfortunately, she succumbed to failure again just recently as of 2018. She had also kidney cancer. She was diagnosed with that in 2019. So her life has been so impacted, as you can see, by kidney disease and the ups and downs of it, guys. She's been on dialysis over a span of 20 years. She is actually, I've never personally known anyone that has been dealing with dialysis that long, because we all know how devastating it can be to our bodies. It sustains us, but it does not heal us. It keeps us alive. And we thank God for it, nevertheless, right? So she is in need of a third transplant, and she's so full of love and joy and optimism, and she has such, obviously, a zest for life. So I just want you guys to give my girl, Missy, as we lovingly call her, Missy Bias, a warm welcome to the show. you? Hey, I know, right? I told you we'd be jamming. How you doing? How
I
you
am
doing, my
I
dear?
am doing good. I just came from dialysis, but I'm doing
Good.
okay. I'm doing
Wow,
good. I'm
and look
doing
at
good.
you, just getting off the machine and looking fabulous. See, that's what I'm talking about, girl.
I'm
That's why
good.
you are SHERO. I love it. I love it. So listen, I want you to start out by sharing with my guests just your journey with kidney disease, how it began. I gave some nuggets in the beginning, but
Yeah.
they want to hear it from you. I want you to share it in any way that you would like to.
Okay. Well, I would like to say thank you for being on your show. Um, what happened was I was one of those type of kids. I was a little puny. I guess you can say I didn't feel good. I always laid in my bed all the time. Didn't know what the problem was. I didn't know why when I come home from school I would always go to sleep. And then when I was about 12 years old in junior high school, um, my teacher, Mrs. Jones, which is one of my favorite teachers, she told me, she said, Melissa, your blood pressure is 150 over 90. And so I said,
Wow.
150 over 90. I didn't understand blood pressure. So I went home and I told my mom, and she said, well, maybe you was running. Maybe you was running. Maybe you was running. I said, no, I wasn't running. I said, I just had came out and we had assessments in Citrus County, or we had assessments each year. And I did an assessment, and when she did my blood pressure, it was 150 over 90. So she asked me to go home and tell my mother that I have high blood pressure. When I got home, I told my mom that Mrs. Jones said that I had high blood pressure. Um, we didn't do anything about the problem because my mom just felt like, hey, it was just somebody, that's not true.
Mhm,
She's a little
mhm.
girl, she's just 12 years
Right.
old. And
Mhm.
so for every day, my mom said, you're so lazy. All you want to do is go to bed when you go home. And I said, Mom, I
Wow.
just don't feel, never felt really good. I would
Mhm.
like try to just still be a kid and and
Yeah.
camouflage it like I'm okay. But
Mhm.
when I got in high school, about 17 years old, I got a boyfriend. And he said, Missy, I'm about ready to have sex. And I said, okay, well,
Whoa.
I'm going to get some
Oh,
birth control pills. And when I went to go try to get birth control pills, the doctor told me my blood pressure was high and that he
wow.
couldn't give me blood pressure. I mean, couldn't give me any birth control pills. And so that relationship didn't last long. But after that, I met my husband. I met my
Mhm.
husband, and I told them that they say I had high blood pressure. And he said, well, we need birth control pills, Missy, or you're gonna get pregnant. Sure enough, I did get
Wow.
pregnant. I got pregnant, didn't know that I was pregnant. My son, I was pregnant with my son, John, and
Mhm.
I found out I was about 13 weeks pregnant when I found out. We tried to use all different type of methods, birth control methods, but unfortunately I got pregnant.
Mhm.
During that pregnancy, I, my blood pressure was uncontrollable.
Missy,
Uncontrollable.
can I? Okay, I would like to jump in, hon, with a quick question because
Hmm.
you have mentioned, several times about how high your blood pressure was. And
Hmm.
it's really amazing thinking about at 12 years old that your blood pressure was that high. I'm amazed that the school or whoever found that out didn't call your mom themselves. That's very
No,
interesting to me.
the school did not call, and I went for years having headaches. I used to suffer
That's
from
what I
bad
was going to
headaches.
ask you. What
Bad
type of
headaches,
symptoms were you having?
bad
Yeah.
headaches, also constipation. Is
Mm,
embarrassing. I suffered from constipation ever since I was a very little girl.
okay.
Constipation problems, and my mom would give me back then. They would give you a little Phenament, And when she take a Phenament, she would give me a little piece of Phenament because I suffered from constipation and still do. But
Yeah.
she so when I was pregnant with John, they decided to take the baby early.
Mhm.
And when I found out that day, I went for a visit to the doctor, and he said, we're gonna have to take the baby because your
Mm.
blood pressure is over 200. I
Wow.
was 310 pounds.
Stroke
Um,
level.
Toxemia, preeclampsia. I was just swolled all over. And he said, we're going to have to take the baby. Sure enough,
How many months were
I was,
you at that?
I was just turning 8 months, just
Okay.
turning 8 months.
So
And
yeah.
so when I turned 8 months, they delivered the baby by C-section. And also I said, well, make sure you put me to sleep because I don't want to see it.
Right.
And I got the baby was delivered, and when I woke up in darkness. I was blind.
Oh
And I
my
just
God.
started streaming. I just started streaming. They said, you can't see your baby. I said, no, I can't see little John because we had already found out he was a boy. My husband had went on a trip because he was trying to get his welding license. And so when he came, I was blind. When he came back, I was blind, and my mother and my sisters had to come and help take care of the baby. And
Mm.
I believe I stayed blind about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. They were getting
Wow.
ready to learn me Braille.
Wow.
Learn and learn me coins and throwing coins on the floor and Missy, what is you throwing or what are you feeling? I was getting ready to learn Braille.
So
Two
Missy, let me jump in. I'm sorry with the question because this is just so amazing. So I too went in my early stages of finding out that I had kidney disease, went blind.
Mm-hmm.
My blood pressure was about 200 over like, oh my God, like 120 when I was
Right,
being rushed to the hospital. And that's when I lost my sight. However, as my blood pressure began to come
right.
down, my
As it
sight came back.
Right.
So with
That's what happened
your,
to me.
okay,
That's what happened to me. My sight began to come back gradually. When
okay.
my doctor came in, I said, I see your shoes. And he said, you see my shoes? I said, yeah, they're black. He said, no, they're not black, but they're gray. He said, you're
Okay.
getting your eyesight back. It's coming back.
Wow.
But my mother or my husband could not come see me at that time because if I would get stressed, that wouldn't be
It
good
would
for
go
me.
up. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
they couldn't see me during those weeks because my blood pressure would go up. I'm an emotional person. That's what I want to tell people. High blood pressure usually come from a lot of stress. It was a
Hmm.
young marriage, not really ready for the responsibility. I had just left my mother's home, and it's just like I got all this responsibility. Now I got a baby to take care of. And
Hmm.
so after that, like you said, I couldn't get on birth control still. I couldn't
Yeah.
get on birth control pills. And my husband told me when he found out I was pregnant with my daughter, Kayla, he said, I want a divorce. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm thinking we're getting ready to have a second child and you want a divorce? So in my mind, I knew that
Mhm.
he was gonna leave after Kayla was born, and which he
Mhm.
did. He left when Kayla was 2 months old. He left when Kayla was 2 months old. Um, thank God that I had a mother still living because my dad had died on my graduation in 1986 from a brain aneurysm. And
Mhm.
so I had my mother and I had my sisters and my brother. So they help me out with the babies.
Okay.
Far as the jobs, employment, I would stay on a job a couple months and then I would rest for a couple months. I would
Mhm.
stay on a
Mhm.
job a couple months and then I would rest because the blood pressure was just so extremely high. It was
Mhm. Mhm.
uncontrollable. And
Mhm.
one thing about it, I suffer from my head hurting in the back of my head. I didn't never think nothing of it until a couple years later, I had a brain aneurysm.
Mhm.
And
Okay. I'm sorry. Let me jump in because I want to back up just a little bit. So one question I'm gonna ask you is Steve put it out there is how was your diet during that time, but also keep in answering that, I would like for you to share at what point did the doctors actually, because you're a single mom now, you got two kids to raise, thank God you had some family help, but at what point were you actually diagnosed with kidney disease in the midst of this excessive out of control hypertension?
when I was diagnosed with kidney disease, it was in 1994. I was
Mhm.
diagnosed with kidney disease because I had high blood pressure all those years.
Mhm.
Okay. And then I went to the, you know, I had to go wash my clothes to the laundromat, and they had a sign of the ACT study. It's for African Americans who suffer from hypertension. And I said, I suffer real bad from hypertension. I said, I'm going to give this study a call. And I worked in that type of field of doing studies. Okay.
Mhm.
I did a lot of market research in my lifetime. And so University of Florida was giving this study. So when I went up to Gainesville, they said I was born with hypertension. I was
Gestational.
born
Mhm.
with hypertension. I say, born with hypertension? They said, yes. And your kidneys is only working 30%.
Wow, both kidneys. You were
Both
only at
kidneys.
30%.
In
Yeah.
1994, my kidneys was only working 30%. So I had
Hmm.
two young kids. One was in elementary, one was in middle school, and I would have to face going on the machine. So when I found out that I was going to be on the machine soon, or they even talked about death, that I will probably live about 5 years.
Wow.
And I said, 5 years and I got babies? I got babies. And so I start getting myself prepared uh, for dying, tell the truth. Yeah.
So were you talked to, Melissa? You know how this goes is generally, I know how it went with me as well as others. You know, when you're actually told that you are in ESRD, end stage renal disease, you know, you're by this time generally assigned a coordinator of some sort through the
Uh-huh.
hospital who talks to you about the potentials of getting with, you know, having you put on the UNOS list, United Network of Organ Sharing, the list.
No,
They
I
talk to you.
wasn't.
Mhm.
No.
No,
I
you weren't talked to about Medicare
no.
because you
I was
automatically
I was
qualified.
taught I was taught at the clinic. And the clinic will talk to you about hypertension, and then but they wouldn't send nobody out there to check on you. Plus, like I
Mhm.
say, stress is a major thing because I had to work and take care of children, living on a low income, living in housing and different type of things. You eating what you can get a hold to. Okay.
So in other words, that kind of answers Steve's question in relation to how was your
Right.
diet. So I'm assuming
Right.
you weren't really eating healthy.
No, I was not eating healthy. Only thing I was thinking about is how we gonna put food in our body.
Mhm.
How I'm gonna take care of two growing children. Okay.
Mhm.
Every time I would start a job, a really good job, I only could stay at that job a couple weeks, and then I had to let it go because my blood pressure was extremely high.
And
So
that would make you sick. Yeah.
I could never do that. So instead of that, I went to school. I went to college, and I was going to college. I always took the easier classes first because my brain didn't want to be stressed. I'm
Mhm.
already stressed raising children. I didn't want to be stressed with other hard classes at that time.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so that's what I had to do.
Mhm.
Um, my
Steve,
sister, Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Steve is asking how is there some reason they didn't diagnose you when you were a child, or did they even make mention of it?
Well,
The possibility.
I am from a small town called Citrus County, and no, they did not diagnose me. Even when my mom took me for my checkups, no, they did not diagnose me. They didn't know that I had blood pressure because, like I said, maybe when I went to the doctor, the blood pressure was low at that time. Okay. So no, they did not diagnose me then.
Okay.
When I got diagnosed, it was in 1994.
Okay.
When they told me that my kidneys were failing. Okay. But I have known that I had high blood pressure. You might as well say when I was a teenager, I knew that I had high blood pressure.
So take us to, I know you said you've had how many transplants?
I've had 2 transplants.
Okay, so take us up to the point where you were about to, how your first transplant came about. And also, I'm assuming they were deceased donor, because I know you and I didn't talk about that.
My cousin Papa Sandy Bender, he's still living today. He's about 71. He gave me a kidney when he had turned 50.
Okay.
And he gave me a kidney.
What
Papa,
year was that?
That
What
was
year?
in 1999.
99. You had your first transplant in 99. And
Right.
what hospital did you have your first one at?
That was in Orlando.
Okay.
That was called Transplant at that time. Now it's called Advent Hospital.
Okay.
And Transplant, that's what the dialysis center was called. Not the dialysis center, but the clinic was called. And he gave me a kidney. And Papa was one of these types. And that's why I have a heart for people that are homeless, or people that he decided that he wanted his cousin to live. I had got down to 110 pounds.
Wow.
And tall as I am, he felt like, I'll give you a kidney. I said, Papa, I don't want your kidney. And he said, yes, I'm going to give you my kidney. If I don't do nothing else with my life, I'm going to give you my kidney.
Wow.
And he gave me his kidney, and we matched perfectly.
Look at God.
We match perfectly. So that's why I tell people, don't put people down. You never know when you're going to need that person.
That's right,
guys. You never know when you're going to. And without Papa at that time, I don't think I would be living today. I don't think I would be living today.
Right.
He gave me his kidney. Like I said,
and it took right away. Did it take right away?
It took right away. I had no problems. But like I said, you have to work on the inner peace of yourself. I was heartbroken. I was hurt. My husband left me with 2 children. I was obese. I started getting more, and I wasn't obese then, but I started getting, having weight on me, going to different jobs, trying to make a living, stress, a lot of stress. And I didn't really know until I had a brain aneurysm that my father had died of a brain aneurysm, and I lived through the aneurysm. I live right now with a clip in my brain. That clip, I have seizures. I have to not get as stressed because I will have a grandma seizure. So I try to lower, keep everything mild. But my children has been there for me. My son went off to college. My daughter stayed there with me. We had to go to different agencies maybe to help, but they were there. My sisters was there. I lost 2 sisters during this ordeal. One of my sisters was on the kidney. She lost her kidney. I had one sister die of cancer. So did
they ever actually tell you what type of kidney disease you had?
I have
Because you know there
it's called malignant hypertension. And that's
that's
what
the name. Mhm.
that's the name. A malignant hypertension. And
Hypertension. Okay.
right. And that means my pressure is never stable. It's
Mhm.
up and down, up and down. If I talk, my pressure goes up.
Mhm.
So I know that it's always high. It's
Okay.
always high. It's always
Okay.
high.
And so after you got the first transplant, how long did it last? And it sounds like this, you know, you are your body just definitely doesn't handle stress well,
No,
obviously, especially with you
no.
being born with hypertension. And so the stressors continued in your life even after you were blessed with the gift of life
Right.
because of the thing, you know, you were still hurting. And again, you're a single mom, can't keep a job. I get it. I can totally see, you know, why you would always probably deal with a lot of stress that way. So the how long did that first kidney last
The
before
first
you were,
kidney,
because tell us about your dialysis journey.
okay, the first kidney lasts 4 years. The first kidney lasts 4 years. My dialysis journey, when I got on dialysis in 1997, um, everybody go through that depression of I don't want to live.
Mm,
Lord, why did you put this on me? Why did you make me go through something like this? My sister came down, God bless the dead. She came down to make sure I was okay when they put me the first day on dialysis. It was heartbreaking. It was
mhm,
heartbreaking being 27 years old, just turning 28 in a couple of days. I was hurt. I
mhm,
mean, you think about I got to raise these two kids and I'm always sick. And then I didn't go on dialysis. My blood wasn't coming out of my body. I had to go to PD. I had to do peritoneal dialysis. And I
mhm.
had to move in with my sister, my oldest sister, and live there because I was just starting dialysis. So I needed somebody to help me watch the children, even though they were pretty big size then. But it was still I had to rely on others in order to make it. And I
Mhm,
so it wasn't easy. It was
mhm,
not easy.
mhm.
Peritoneal dialysis. I almost lost my life with peritoneal dialysis. It didn't agree with me. I got
Okay.
I kept getting really sick. Like I said, I went down to 110 pounds. I didn't
Mhm,
have an
mhm,
appetite to eat. I just didn't like life um,
mm.
at that time because, I thinking my husband left me and he's gone to live a better life than I am, and I'm stuck with two children. Okay.
So at any point in time during the loss, you know, of the first transplant and prior to being blessed with the second one, which I would also like for you to, get us up to speed on sharing about that one. Did you ever um, try any type of counseling for you,
Of
because
course, we go to counseling. I went to counseling and stuff, but sometimes when you on dialysis or when you going through some emotional abuse, physically
Mhm,
abuse,
mhm,
you don't share everything that's going on in your household. And we as
mhm,
African Americans, we sometimes camouflage things or hide things that what you're really going through. And
right.
even though my husband had left, I was still going through abuse. When you
Mhm,
go and ask for more money, it was like I had to go to his job and may had to get in a fight before I can get money from him. So I
mhm,
went through a lot of abuse, but I knew that I had two kids to raise. And I knew that I had to do what I had to do.
mhm,
Sometimes we as people we feel like, oh, well, just don't worry about it. But I said, my children is going to have the best like I had. I came from
mhm,
a family that my mother was a nurse and my dad was a foreman. And
mhm.
I had the braces and I had the things that I needed, and I wanted my children to have the same. So if I had to go out there and argue with their father, that's what I was going to do.
Right.
So when I got off of when I got off of dialysis, um, it was a good feeling. But when I had to return back to dialysis again in 2003, I said, you know what? This road is not going to be depressed. I'm not going to be depressed on this road. I'm going to do what I have to do. I start working with people at the dialysis center. I start being involved. I start just doing different things. I became a substitute teacher. I started doing things like that, and that made me feel a whole lot better. You know,
Absolutely.
I had to wake up and say, "Hey, Missy, you got to live for the kids." And my kids were growing up, so I had to make sure they see Mama's okay. Mama is okay. So when 2003 and I had the brain aneurysm, I had to learn how to do things again. It wasn't easy after the aneurysm. I had to learn how to walk, talk, move again. I had to do a lot of things that
So
was easy.
did the doctors feel that the aneurysm was a result of, I remember you said your dad had one, so possibly genetics with that?
It was genetics. When I
Okay.
researched it, it was genetics. He had it on the same side that I had mine, and he's when he died, he stayed in a coma for a month. When I had my brain aneurysm, I think I stayed in the hospital approximately about 3 weeks. But
Oh,
I
wow.
also had to learn how to do things all over again. And it's still difficult today. I mean, it's not easy. I know I try to fix up and make myself look normal, but I do go through my challenges. I still go through challenges, you know. I used to know how to type, but I don't know how to type like I used to know how to type. So it's certain things that I had to learn all over again. I had to learn how to write. I had to learn how to move this body again. I had to learn how to wear my high heel shoes. So I wanted to be normal as possible. I wanted to
Right.
let people know that this person hasn't really changed. This person is the same thing, same place, same person, you know? So yes, I went through my challenges. I went through a lot of challenges.
So after that, that you were back on dialysis, and then what? How long were you back on it before? And I'm going to assume you were probably doing hemo, because I remember you said
Yes,
that
I
you
went
didn't
back on
agree with you.
within a year and a half. I went back on hemo. Right
Okay.
before I got the first transplant, I did a year of hemo.
Okay.
And then that's when my cousin gave me a kidney.
Okay.
And but when I got back in on dialysis in 2003, I was on hemodialysis then.
Okay.
And I spent 10 straight years on
Wow.
dialysis.
Now, let me jump in there. So, were you during that 10-year period, were you back on the list to get a deceased? Were you on the list to get a deceased donor kidney? Did you qualify? And
Well,
if not, why?
the doctors had already talked to me and they had told me I would be a hard match because my antigen level was it was too out of the way that I could never I wouldn't match anybody. So I just considered myself, well, I'm gonna live on dialysis until I pass away. And I
Mm,
met this lady that came on dialysis. It was just like a blessing from God because once you make up in your mind that I'm going to pass on dialysis, you I just had made up my mind I was just going to pass on dialysis. I met this lady in 2013. 2000 and I met Gwen in 2011 and she had got on dialysis. She's one of my friends today, and she said, "Missy, we going to Mayo Clinic, not Mayo.
mm,
I'm John Hopkins." And I said, "John Hopkins, they already done said that I can't. I'm not a match." She said, Missy, we're going to go. So what she did, like I told you, my writings is not like it used to be. She wrote a touching letter. She wrote
Mhm.
a touching letter to John Hopkins for me. And sure enough, all those thousands of letters, they got back in touch with me. And they said, we would like to see if you would come up here and try out for being on our list. And I said, what? I mean, I never heard that. And
Mhm.
so I worked that week. Okay.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
we went up to Baltimore, and she went with me, and I got placed on the list. But
Mm.
they had already told me that I was a hard match, that I
Mhm.
was 100% that I didn't match no one. And the reason why I don't match is because I done had so many blood transfusions. When I had the
Oh,
brain aneurysm, they had to give me so many blood transfusions. And I have been getting blood transfusions for many years.
wow.
So when it came time
Mhm.
to match, I couldn't match anybody. My son
Mhm.
took a test when he was about 14 or 15 years old, and we did not match.
It didn't match.
It's like he
Mhm.
wasn't even my child. And my daughter,
Wow.
they didn't want to um, try to take her kidney because she was a child, for one thing, and she may want to
Female.
be.
Exactly. And of course, our children, and that's the same thing that, I thought about in relation. My son wasn't a good enough match for me at the time, but my
Right,
daughter was too young anyway to be a donor. However, I thought about the same thing, Missy. I wanted to see her one day have children,
yes,
and
yes.
they're genetically predisposed because of us,
Right, right.
so I do understand that. So
So when
you
my
were
son
on.
got tested, when my son got tested, he was 0%. So I
Mm.
even teased him today. I even said, when I get mad with him, I said, "You ain't my kid, no way."
Don't do that.
But we
Yeah.
didn't match at all, and that's how much mixed up my blood is.
So then, how long were you on the list with John Hopkins up until you got the second? Take us to the second transplant.
Okay, when they call me up, they called me up and they say, Melissa, I say yes. They say this is John Hopkins. They said we think we have a match. And that was in 2013. I say, what? And I think I had about $60 in my pocket. And I said, oh my God. So I called Linda with the note because I had met her in 2011. And like I said, I started getting involved with agencies and things,
Mhm.
And I said, Linda, I need $200 to go to John Hopkins. She said,
Mhm.
you got it. She said, I will make your ticket to John Hopkins. I will make you get your airplane ticket. And sure enough, she did. So I remember I still had that $60 in my pocket. I said, now how I'm going to make it with $60 up in a state and a city that I'd never been to but one time. And sure enough, when I got up there, it seemed like the Lord spoke to me and he said, call your teacher. And something about me, teachers have always loved me, and I hate to say I'm being prejudiced or I'm being I know that I got it going on, but I had a teacher in 5th grade. She always told me if I need anything, she said just call me.
Wow.
So when I called her and I said Miss Sheehan, and she said yes, her name had changed, and she said, is this Missy? I said, this is Missy. I said, I need a favor. And she said, what do you need? I said, I need $3,000. And she said, $3,000? She said, you got it. She said, wait
Wow. Look
one
at
more
God.
time.
Wow. What a
And you
blessing.
know what? Because see, when the Lord talks to you, he told me to call her.
Come on.
So I went and picked up the $3,000 that she had sent me. I stayed to Baltimore for 4 months after the transplant. I wasn't a good match. Again, I like to say, when you have antigen problems, they did paraphereses. They did
Mhm.
those tests. They did that procedure with me before I even had the transplant. But I still match 30%. I matched
Mhm.
30% when the kidney was placed in my body. So I had to live up there for 4 months
Mhm.
until they get the kidney where they wanted it.
It to
And
be.
so I lived up there with my $3,000. I had to put $1,000 in a motel, and John Hopkins paid for the rest of the 4 months I was there.
Wow. What a blessing. Yeah.
So
Mm.
I did have to go through a lot when I was up there. When you have difficult problems like me and you don't match, you have to go through a lot of testing. I had to go through a lot of testing, taking a lot of medication, more than
Mhm.
the rejection medicine. I had to take a lot of medicine that did not agree with my body.
Speaking of which, let me jump in with this because I think Steve asked this earlier as well. Are you still? I'm sure to control that blood pressure, they had to have you probably on several different BP meds. And are you
Um,
still on blood pressure medication?
I
How many?
take I take Keppra. I take Keppra for seizures and also high blood pressure. I also take neophrin, but I was on verapamil for a long time. I was on verapamil about 20 years. And then verapamil stopped working, so they put me on Keppra. And I'm on Keppra, and now I take neophrin now,
Mhm.
neophrin. And I
Mhm.
take that now to try to control the high blood pressure. And also I take Keppra to try to control the seizures. I take about 2,000. I take about 2,000 in the morning, and I take
Wow.
2,000 at night, trying to control the grandma seizures.
Mm.
So when
That
you're looking at a person, I try to look as normal as I possibly can, but medication um, really keeps me looking normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you look totally normal, Missy. You look amazing. I mean, especially as you said, medication can do so much to our bodies. And unless you've walked that walk, people
Unless
have
you walk
no
that walk.
idea. You don't. You don't. And the best thing that we can do is try to, not allow it to get us down, as you have so graciously done over all these years, and just keep rolling with it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's
I,
that's
I
all we
had
can do.
I had to
That.
change. I had to
Go
change
ahead.
my mindset. First of
I
all, it
can't
has to
hear you
come.
anymore.
Oh, you can't hear me anymore. First of all, can you hear me now?
I can't hear Jared. Can you hear her? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me. I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
You can't hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
You can't hear me.
I can
I
hear
can't
you.
hear you. Please forgive us, guys. We're having a little audio issue here. Bear with us.
It's
Melissa,
already
remember I
logged
told
out.
you about logging out?
Okay.
Log out and log back in.
Okay. Oh God. Let me try it again. I don't know why it's not logging out. Join me on StreamYard. Okay.
We're sorry, guys. We ended up having some technical difficulties on Melissa's end. So we have to have her log out and
Do you
log
see
back
me
in.
now? Do you see me
I
now?
can't hear her at all, so I hope you guys can hear me.
Do you see me? Do you see me?
Okay, thank you, Lord. The devil is a liar. Yeah.
Something about the devil, he does that.
Girl, he ain't killing this story though. Yes, I can hear you again now. Thank you. I apologize. Whatever you said, I did myself nor the audience probably heard it. So I'm not sure where you left off, but we were talking about the meds, and I was just, talking about how unless you've been on them, how it saves us, but it does us such a discourtesy in a lot of ways too.
Yes,
But
it
that's just
does.
what we
Yes,
try to
it
be,
does.
because we need them to live, for that
Right.
kidney to live, and
Right.
all your
Right.
other things that you have going on.
Right.
So,
I have been on very strong steroids. I still take a steroid today, even though I do not have a kidney. I take a lot of steroids today.
mhm,
Um, because inside my body is still, even though the kidneys are dead, a part of the kidneys are still alive. So I have to take prednisone in order to um, sustain the kidney, because the kidney is still working a little bit in my body.
mhm.
I used to have 4 kidneys. Now they had took one of them out because that one was cancerous,
Okay, I was gonna
and that
ask.
was my own kidney, my birth kidney.
Okay, now I'm glad you brought that up, because I just happened to think about the fact, one thing I've always been asked when, I've done speaking engagements or just sharing my testimony with others, is people will ask, did they take my native kidneys out? And I go, no, very rarely will they do
Very
that,
rarely.
unless it's just they are causing a major problem,
Right.
because that's such an invasive surgery. And so I go, no. And I said, mine, they wouldn't have to, because my disease shriveled mine up completely. I just had the test. My doctor wanted to see the status of them about 3 months ago. And I said, they're shriveled up, right? And he goes, yeah.
Right.
So,
Well, they shrivel up. They shrivel up. But when I was going for my another kidney transplant, for my third kidney transplant, they take you through all these tests, and
right.
they said, Melissa, we believe you got cancer.
Mm,
And I said, what? They said, yeah, but it's a little small dot. It's small as a millimeter
okay.
on your own native kidney. And
Mm,
I said, well, take it out.
mhm.
Take it out.
Okay.
And sure enough, I didn't even hesitate. One thing my sister always say, Missy gonna take that chance anyway. And
Mhm.
that next month, they took that cancerous kidney out.
Wow.
Um,
And
because I feel like if you don't nip things in the bud, some people have to go home and they have to think about it. I'm a person, no, I don't have to think about it. If it's hurting my body,
want it
let's get
gone.
it done.
Mhm.
And I've
Mhm.
always been that type of person. If something is hurting in my side of my body, let's get it over with. And
Yeah.
sure enough, we got that over with. I also had to get my parathyroid out a couple months ago. I got that out. So
Good.
I am ready for my third transplant today.
So tell us about that. Yes, you got some
Um,
great news
I got a
recently.
call from Orlando last week. They told me I just need one more test to do, and I will be on the list. The CT scan I have to do, so they could know where to place the kidney. So right now I got 3 kidneys in my body, so they need to know where to place it in my body.
So Melissa, they won't. Okay, so that was a part two of when I brought that native kidney thing up. So I was thinking, okay, wow. I explained to people how generally the new kidneys that we get are either put on the lower left or the lower right of our
Right,
abdomen. Our abdominal, in
right,
fact, as
right,
women, that's almost like near the ovarian area. Now,
right.
with you having 2 transplanted kidneys. I'm assuming they did a left and right on you.
Right, they
So
did.
where would they put the new kidney? They'd have
They
to,
would
I'm
put
assuming,
that
remove.
kidney. They would probably remove
Yeah,
one of my transplanted kidneys because
right.
I doubt if they would go in the spot that I had the cancer at.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So they probably would remove one of the transplanted kidneys and probably place it there.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So they told you that, and I believe that the news that you were just sharing, you were just recently given some good news with TGH too, right? Tampa General Hospital.
Yeah, they got all my
Woo!
records and they're gonna make me an appointment to come there.
Yes.
My thing with they have came to me about getting a hepatitis kidney transplant. They have gave,
Mm,
because I am at the bottom of the list.
right.
So I'll be 52 next month. And I might have to take that decision to do that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people look at me like, Missy, I wouldn't take that chance. But I feel like, I've always been a daredevil. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
if I have to lose my life, that's what I may have to
To
do
save it. That's right.
to save my life. My
That's right.
daughter is going to try to be tested um, to give me a transplant, but she also may want to bear children. I have to take that in consideration. But I'm also going to try to get on the list at Mayo Clinic in um, in Arizona. So, I just feel like I'm just that type of person. I'm not going to give up. I preach it
Mm-hmm.
every day not to give up, and I don't want to give up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that's on dialysis, they give up. And
Yeah.
I've lost so many friends
Yeah, I
during
know.
these over 20 years. I have lost friends. I have lost a lot of family members that have been on the kidney machine, ready to go. They used to come to me and say, Missy, how can you still want to be on dialysis? I say one thing I do when I go to dialysis, I enjoy my friends.
Come
And I
on.
have friends on dialysis. So
Mm-hmm.
when I get to see my friends, I'm okay. I'm
Right.
okay. I have made peace. And one thing you have to do when you on the machine, you have to make peace with yourself.
That's
And I
right.
have made peace over these years of being on dialysis. I have made peace. This is like my next home, and I
Mm.
had to make peace. And
Yes.
a lot of people don't want to make peace, but when I got back on the machine in 2018, I said, you know what? I want to live. And if I
Mm-hmm.
got to go on the machine again, that's just what I got to do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I
Amen.
mean, that's what I got to do because I want to live. My mother is still living. My mother is
Wow.
85 years old, and my sister is still living. And my brother, right now, he's sitting up in Kindred Hospital because he fell off his truck, but he is still living. And I
Mm.
said, I want to live until I can't live no more.
That,
So that's
amen.
what you have to put in your mind that you're going to try to live. And you want to
Mm.
try to live as long as you possibly can. Because
Yes.
I
Well,
was
you
I
see
was
all the
finished.
comments. Joy said, thank you for encouraging the hearts of so many because it is so encouraging, Missy. I mean, most people, especially your situation is extremely unique. And for
Hmm.
me, and I've heard some intense journeys,
Yep.
but you have had so many aspects of this illness, not only from the physical standpoint, but a personal standpoint
Yes.
with regard to your relation, your marriage, and just all the things that could possibly go wrong.
Yeah.
Many of us, we've gone through this, but we had a good, sound support base, and that
Right.
makes a world of difference.
Oh
And so
yeah.
it's really unfortunate that that was not the case with you, but in the midst of those storms,
Midst
look
of it
how
all,
God has
you gotta fight
persevered.
it.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah.
fight. And I think, and I look at my children and I And I said, I'm so blessed.
Mm.
I got a chance to see my kids grow up.
Mm-hmm. Hallelujah.
My
Wow.
daughter is 30. My
Yes.
daughter is 28. My son is 31. And I
Wow.
got a chance, and when they were really young, they told me I wouldn't even see them grow up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when I
Mm-hmm.
look at them now, I said, "Oh my God, I got two grown children."
Yes.
I also fostered a child also. I fostered a child when I got 31. I always wanted a third child,
Mm-hmm.
and my cousin, she was on drugs at that time, and she said, "I don't want a baby." So I said, "I'll take it." And I
Wow.
kept that baby. That kept me young.
Wow.
That kept me young, running him to school, and me and my daughter and my son taking care of this little bitty baby. That brought us joy,
Yeah.
And I kept him till he was about 8 years old, and his father wanted him then. And I want you to keep him in prayer. He went to live with his father, and
Uh-huh.
now he's in a lot of trouble right now. But
Mm.
I said, you know
What's
what?
his name, Melissa?
His
Just his
name is
first name.
David. His name is David Morrell,
Okay.
and
I just want to add him to my prayer list. That's
he's
all.
18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want you to keep him in prayer because he's sitting up in prison right now.
Mm, my
And
God.
I said, I did the best that I possibly can.
Yeah.
And when I heard that the other day that he's in a lot of trouble, I said, you know what? When he lived with me, it wasn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So God gave me the things that I wanted. And
Yes.
he knew that I wanted a third child. He knew that when I had my first two children, I was still young, but when I got David, I was like 31 years old, and I got a chance to enjoy a baby like I really
Mm-hmm.
wanted to enjoy a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
God has been really good to me. I'm not going to put everything has been all bad. God
Sure.
has blessed me so much. He has
Mm-hmm.
blessed me with the best doctors. I had
Yes.
Dr. Balakis in Navarro for
Mm-hmm.
many years in Tampa Bay. And now I
Yeah.
have a good doctor here in Citrus County. So God has really, really blessed me. I got all my loans paid off, my school loans. It was like $40,000, and my
Wow.
loans are paid off. So God has been really good. God has been
Absolutely.
really
Absolutely. And he's still being good. I mean, you know how we both feel about TGH, and just the amazing things that Tampa General is doing in
good.
transplantation.
Right, right,
Personally, I want you to get your kidney wherever it comes first. But
right.
I'm going to root for TGH because it's the home front. It's our home front. And I can just, we got family there. You know what I mean?
Yes,
There's people
yes.
involved there. Um, and Melissa, I think that the greatest thing that God did gift you with that couldn't be touched was your will to live, your
Yes.
positive attitude. I know without a doubt that that is what has seen you,
Oh, yes.
gotten you through this and continues to allow you to persevere
Oh,
through it
yes.
in the midst
Oh,
of
yes.
everything.
Oh, yes. You got to, when you on this journey,
We're having our
I want
sound
you,
issue again.
oh,
Can you
gee.
hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure what's going on over there. I can't hear you anymore. Do whatever you
Oh,
did because we're going to get ready to close out. But see if you can jump out and come back in again. I just want you to say some final words before we close out. We apologize again, everyone. We had Melissa's got that audio issue again over there, but hopefully she's going to just be able to jump in. I just want her to share a few last words. I mean, what a story, right? Can you? This is just so amazing.
what I want, let's,
Here,
okay. What I want people to know that, and I say this all the time.
I can't
Can you
hear
hear me
you.
now? You can't hear me? I can hear you well.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm. You got to go out and come back. So everyone, please, while we're waiting for her to jump back in, man, let's help save her. Let's, we all have a gift. We all can give. We can all, pass the word, put it on your page. There are various ways for us to get this word out so we can get this wonderful woman another kidney. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear you at all.
Oh.
I'm sorry, because that's so terrible for us to have to end it this way. We're coming to a close.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you.
Oh,
Jerry, you can hear her? Okay, guys, well, let me log out and come back in. Maybe it's me.
Hi. I don't hear you. I don't hear you.
How about now?
I hear you now.
Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, everyone. So listen, we're not going to prolong this any further too much. Melissa, thank you so much. But what I would like you to share before we go just real quick is just give everybody just a few words. You've actually shared so much with us and we're so grateful for that. But just what would you say to someone else who is waiting and discouraged? What is it that you find keeps you the most uplifted is what I'm trying to say, and just share that with everyone, what you would say to them.
My support system. I have very good support system. My mother is here, my sister, my brother, my friends. My friends at dialysis, Emirates Dialysis Center, the dialysis centers I had in Tampa. I think the support system is good. Make sure you have friends at dialysis. I believe if it weren't for me having friends at dialysis, I probably wouldn't have made it. But really, I think just having my family, that was the most important thing. You cannot give up. You cannot give up. You got to live as long as you can. I've had several friends pass away, but you got to stay strong and know that you cannot give up.
Amen.
That's all I have to say.
Amen. Well, girl, I love you. I'm rooting for you. And I'll be right there with the cheering squad, no matter if it's at Mayo, if it's at TGH, we got you. We got you. And thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. And everybody's just really chiming in to keep you uplifted and just cheering you on, girl. You are a hero. Seriously, SHERO. You're a SHERO. And thank you so much for joining the show, Melissa. Love you, girl.
All right.
Have a great night.
Okay.
Talk to you soon, okay?
All righty.
Okay.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Wow, 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 wow. Again, I apologize about the audio issues. I can't complain because that's the first time on Sisters Against Kidney Disease. But what an amazing story of strength, of courage, of perseverance. And this just proves to us, guys, that we will either swim or sink. There is no doubt about that. And so we only get one chance at life, like Melissa was pretty much saying in essence. And she said, I'm going to live my life. So I challenge you all to ask yourselves, are you allowing your illness to make you a runner or a warrior? We need more warriors. We don't need people that run away. Okay. And so I'm going to leave you again with the scripture. Oh, and please, again, if you're interested in giving Melissa a kidney, the information is below. You can also inbox me. Please, please, please share this page. I know this had to touch the lives of everybody. I know it did. I know I'm not the only one here who it didn't touch. But the scripture I want to leave you with, which I do every show, it's real simple. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Think about that. Live it. Live that. Make that your truth. I love you guys with the love of Christ, and ain't nothing you can do about it. I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful and safe week. Bye-bye.